It's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the workshop on capacity buildings in inclusive and balanced education ends at the Ministry of National Education. The international scene toward the resumption of nuclear testing, the UN is concerned in North Korea. Welcome to our newsroom. A capacity buildings workshop for the promoters of the pilot project for balanced and inclusive education was held from 29 to 31 December at the Basic Education Teachers Training Center. The workshop, the second of its kind, was part of the implementation of the pilot project for the integrations of the principles and pillars of inclusive and balanced education into the basic education curriculum. The 3 days of trainings enabled teachers, pedagogical advisors and the inspectors to be put in place the conditions necessary for the successful implementation of the pilot project in the 6 schools concerned. As a reminder, the Minister Mustafa Mohammed Mahamoud has indicated at the launch of the first workshop that the pilot project leaders must undeniably mobilize all their expertise and experience to achieve the expected objectives. The closing ceremony of the workshop was attended by the technical advisors of the Minister of the chairpersons of the ad hoc committee for the preparations of the inclusive and balanced education is to be held in Djibouti from 27 to 29 January. Finally, it should be noted that this pilot project started on 3 November 2019 and will continue until June 2020, when conclusions will be drawn from the first experiments. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, unexpectedly visited the National Navy today, Thursday, January, at its traditions officers, non-commissioned officers, and settlers need every Thursday at the places of the Great Report to attend the raising of the color. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim wanted to participate in the ceremony, welcomed on his arrivals by the Chief of the Marine Corps, Colonel Ahmed Daher Jama'a. Siamga made a review of the troop and then returned the honor to the flag through the raisings of colors. Thereafter, Siamga addressed the troops to explain the purpose of this visit. In fact, following the launching of the Ortec plane due to the rains that damaged houses and many access roads, the Djiboutian Armed Forces carried out humanitarian assistance operations for 5 weeks in favor of the affected populations. To this end, animated by a sense of pride and courage, the soldiers of the National Navy distinguished themselves perfectly in their assigned sector, namely the War 7 and its surroundings, by working to pump the savages from houses, digging trenches from the evacuations of the stagnant water, cleaning the streets, unblocking sewers, cleaning rubbish and refuse, and above all, reassuring the most destitute people of their unfailing support. To do so, they have spared neither times to no effort to help vulnerable populations. Satisfied with this duty accomplished, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim particularly wanted to congratulate them and urged them to provide more where needed. In In front of the crowd, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim spoke to congratulate them and urged them to get more involved in addition to the wishes of the President of the Republic and Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim extend to them its best wishes for the year 2020 in the accomplishment of their assigned missions. He then congratulated them on the assistance tasks carried out during the recent floods in their affected area, namely the neighborhood 7 and its surrounding. General of the Armed Corps Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim reminded them of their mission to ensure the security of the waters and the sea. It is the responsibility of the National Navy to ensure the free movement of goods and persons in the national territory waters, the security and of our maritime zone. Finally, he urged the National Navy to work to preserve national unity, the foundations of the armed forces, which must always be consolidated and sustained. This unit must be felt at all levels of the hierarchy, starting with the head of the corpus and ending with the newly recruited soldiers. Without the additions, the cohesions, the performance of any soldiers will be significantly affected. The Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Djibouti to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Diaydin Said Bamakrama, was received on January 2020 in audience by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud. Discussions focused on the close and fraternal relations existing between the two brotherly countries under the leadership of the leader of the two-state presidents, Muammar Ghele, and on the one hand, the custodians of the two holy places, King Salman and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. On the other hand, the cooperations in various economic, political, and security files and the results of the works of the Joint Commission were among the points of discussion. The ambassador and the ministers also discussed the various agreements and conventions reaching nearly 20 bilateral agreements signed between the two governments. Ambassador Diaydin Said Bamakrama expressed the gratitude of the government and people of Djibouti to the government and people of Saudi Arabia for all assistance and support present to Djibouti since independence in 1977. Within the framework of the festivity of the New Year's 2020, the Town Hall of Djibouti organized the 5th edition of Kermesse at the Esplanade of People's Palace. This event was aimed to set up activities based on joy and celebrations, games, animations, and sport. To welcome the New Year's in the festive atmosphere, it was open to the general public of the all age group, but the children accompanied by their parents were the most numerous of and had a great times to take part. All you had to do was buy the ticket of the Sams. The organization of this kermesse is a testimony to celebrate, enjoy the New Year's 2020 with the children. There was a strong animation with the great singers Gesod Abdo. All the children were satisfied with this event. The parents were satisfied to share a moment of joy with the children during the first, and one parent indicates his joy and pleasure which he takes with his children, and express the wishes to multiply this activity in the future. He thanked the town hall and all the employees of the town hall for the organizations of this fair, which makes the children happy in the presence of family. On his part, the representative of the city, Mr. Mohammed Megag, first of all thanked the children and the parents who came numerous to the fair. They underlined that the city halls of Djibouti made effort for the organizations of the 5th sessions of fair on the occasions of the New Year's 2020. The town halls will not stop. The other activities will be programmed. Hassan Mohamed Kamil likes to go all the ways after closing the finals of Corto Maltese Cup and celebrating New Year's Eve in Tujura. The Secretary of State for Youth and Sports invite all the players, the organizer, and the local authorities to lunch today. It was in a festive atmosphere that the restaurant Corto Maltese opened its door to the guests. During this meal, several points were discussed, including the positive assessment of the regional footballs in 2000 and especially the new prospect for 2020. The State Secretary for Youth and Sport, Hassan Mohamed Kamil, first wishes a happy New Year to all and congratulate again the teams and organizers of the tournament. Mr. Hassan Mohamed Kamil promised a year still very rich and dense in activities and challenges. There is no reason for the regions to remain on the sidelines. They can be concluded several personalities from the region's Secretary of State, and the invitation is but especially for the role he plays in the development of the youth of Tujura since his appointment at the head of the department. For the international scene, 124 refugees evacuated from Libya to Niger. The Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees announced that it had evacuated 124 refugees from Libya to Niger. So listen to Dini Musa.
The Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees announced Wednesday that it had evacuated 124 refugees from Libya to Niger. We wish them a happy new year and will work over the coming months to help the most vulnerable refugees leave Libya for safety, the UN agency said. Thousands of irregular migrants, mostly Africans, are choosing to cross the Mediterranean Sea from Libya to Europe because of the chaos that have plagued to North African countries since 2011. According to the UNHCR, there are currently around 4,200 people held in Libyan detention centers, which is regularly called for to be closed.
In North Korea, throughout the resumption of nuclear tests, the UN is concerned. Listen to the report.
Strongly hopes that the tests will not be resumed. In accordance with the relevant Security Council resolutions, non-professional remains a fundamental pillar of global nuclear security and must be safeguarded. His spokesman, Steven, said in a statement to the press. He reiterated his support for the resumption of a dialogue that will lead to the complete and favorable denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Diplomatic engagement is the only path to lasting peace, he added. According to press reports, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un announced the end of a moratorium on nuclear tests and intercontinental ballistic missiles tests because of the failure to resume negotiations with the United States. He announced that the world will discover in the near future a new strategic weapon in North Korea's possession.
And to close up this edition, in Australia, authorities call for evacuations before another head spike on Saturday. So listen to Dini Musa.
Lines of cars on the roads and endless waiting on the southeast coast of Australia. Whole towns are being evacuated because of the fires that have been hitting the country since September. The authorities have called on the tourists to leave these areas, while a new prioritization of fire is announced for Saturday. It will be dark day with temperatures above 40 Fahrenheit, accompanied by strong gusts of wind. We need people to stay on the main roads, stay on roads that are open. Do not try to go and inspect burnt areas. You are putting yourself at risk, warned Andrew Constance, New South Wales Minister for Transport.
This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.